Our goal is to break the power of the mob in America and nothing short of it. We mean to end their profits, imprison their members, and cripple their organization. Imprison their members and cripple their organization. Cripple their organization. Imprison their members. Break the power of the mob.
Hello. What's going on, world? I see y'all out there. So I have returned with some more ADH Wealth Solutions. As you can see, today we're going to talk about inheritance, because often I've seen a lot of financial professionals, when they speak to you about your finances, they never finish speaking to you about what you can do with the inheritance, only that you can provide the inheritance. And one thing that I've realized is everybody talks to you about life insurance, about the giving aspect, but there is a receiving aspect. So I want to read to you a quick article, and we'll go over it, from Discover, the credit card company, of 4 smart things that you can do when you get your inheritance. So bear with me, and I'll pull up that article. Okay. And here we go. So 4 smart things that you can do when you get an inheritance. Coming into a windfall, well, here's how you make the most of it. You just learned of the passing of a loved one. So grandpa just kicked the bucket. During the stressful and emotionally taxing time, you also find out that grandpa was a true provider and protector. He decided to leave y'all some money. Now, while you're happy and you're grateful for that unexpected windfall, knowing what to do with an inheritance can bring in its own share of stresses. While the amounts vary greatly, the Federal Reserve Board's survey of consumer finances reports that an average of roughly 1.7 million households receives an inheritance each year. So the first words of wisdom are to resist the urge to spend it all at once. According to a study funded by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 1/3 of people who receive an inheritance spend all of it and even dip into other savings in the first 2 years. Not me, you say. Still, you might be asking, what should I do with my inheritance money? So if you follow these 4 steps, they can help to make you make smart decisions with your newfound wealth. If you'll see number 1, it says take time to grieve your loss. Deciding what to do with an inheritance can bring with it mixed emotions, a sense of reprieve for this unexpected financial gain, and sadness for the loss of a loved one, says Robert Pagliani, a certified financial planner, or CFP, and president of Pacifica Wealth Advisors. During this time, you might feel confused, upset, and overwhelmed. A large inheritance that pushes you out of your financial comfort zone can create anxiety about how to best manage the money. Pagliarini says, as an inheritor, Pagliarini adds that you may feel the need to be extra careful with the funds. Even though you know it's your money, it could feel borrowed. The last thing you want to do with an inheritance is make financial decisions under an emotional haze. Avoid making any drastic moves right away, such as quitting your job or selling your home. Some experts suggest giving yourself a 6-month buffer before using any of your inheritance. Using the time instead to develop a financial plan while you are thinking about things to do with an inheritance. You can park any funds in a high-yield bank account, savings account, or a certificate of deposit. I would recommend the high-yield savings account personally because it's easier to liquidate than a certificate of deposit, and you'll likely grow at a higher interest rate. Believe currently 1.67% is the highest with American Express as of today. So important rule number 2. Peace all. Rule number 2. You need to know what you are inheriting. So before you determine the things to do with an inheritance, you need to know what you're getting. The certified financial planner and wealth manager Alex Caswell says, how you use your inheritance will largely depend on its source. Typically, Caswell says, an inheritance will come in the form of assets from one of 3 places. So place number 1, real estate. We know all about that in the Black community, right? Big grandpa died. When Pop died, he left us a house. Pop left us a house that mama or big mama lived in, all our aunts and uncles. We have great memories there, Thanksgivings, holidays, beautiful times with the family. After a funeral, after Pop's funeral, what we do, we go back to the house. Everybody eat. We get with the cousins. Some of us go off and dip off and have a little drink of liquor, even though we're 16 and we're not supposed to. But you know, Uncle Carl, he's cool, right? So real estate, such as a house or property. As Caswell explains, if you receive assets from real estate, you will transfer them into your name, which can actually be dangerous because if there's a mortgage still owed on it, they're not only transferring that asset, but they're transferring that liability. As the inheritor, you can choose what to do with the assets. typically sell, rent, or live in them. Okay. A trust account. So a lot of people are finding these to be popular. You have to make sure that they are set up properly. And the only way to properly set up a trust is through an attorney for it to actually be legitimate. Just like a will and final testament, in order to be legitimate, needs to be drafted by an attorney. So a trust account is a legal arrangement through which funds are held by a third party, the trustee, for the benefit of another party, the beneficiary, which may be an individual or a group. The creator of the trust is known as the grantor. If someone inherits assets through a trust, the trust documents will stipulate how these assets will be distributed and who ultimately decides how they are to be invested. Caswell says, in some cases, the assets get distributed outright to you. In other instances, the trust stays intact and you get paid in installments. This is something for people who may have a wife who likes to shop at Bergdorf Goodman or Bloomingdale's all the time. That is something called the spendthrift clause. And this helps them avoid doing things like blowing through the money in the first 2 years. So another space is a retirement account. A lot of us are familiar with this, and a lot of our retirement accounts are trying to look for a nice word, thin at best. So a retirement account, such as a Roth IRA, such as an IRA, Roth IRA, or 401k. These accounts can be distributed in one lump sum. However, there may be requirements related to the amount of a distribution and the cadence of distributions. When considering things to do with an inheritance, know that inherited assets can be designated as transfer on death, TOD, or beneficiary deeds in the case of real estate, which means the assets can be transferred to beneficiaries without the often lengthy probate process. An individual may also bequeath cash or valuables like jewelry or family heirlooms, as well as life insurance or stock certificates. Caswell says if your inheritance comes in the form of investment assets such as stocks or mutual funds, you'll want to think of them as part of your own financial picture. All too often, we see individuals end up treating inherited assets as a living extension of their past relative. Caswell says, consider how the investments can be used to support your financial goals when thinking about what to do when you get an inheritance. One moment there, I got a little dry mouth. So 3, plan what to do with your financial gain. Just like doing your household budgeting, it is important to assign your inheritance to a specific purpose or goals, says Pacific Wealth Advisors Paglarini. Depending on your financial situation, the simple concepts of save, spend, and give may be a good place to start when deciding on things to do when you get an inheritance. Oh, I didn't come up. Hold up. Are my lips dry, y'all? Got the dry mouth. Save. Bolster your emergency fund. You should have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up to avoid unexpected financial shocks such as COVID, such as job loss, car repairs, or medical expenses. If you don't, and you're deciding what things to do with an inheritance, consider parking some cash in this bucket. Save for big goals. Now could be a good time to boost your long-term savings goals and pay it forward. Things to do when you get an inheritance could include putting money towards a child's college fund or getting your retirement savings on track. Spend. You can tackle debt. If you're evaluating what to do with an inheritance, high interest debt is something you could consider paying off. Spending on debt repayment can help you save on hefty interest charges. Reduce or pay off your mortgage. You do have to be careful with paying off your mortgage, and if you're getting in a 30-year fix, you should always make sure to find out if there is a prepayment penalty. Getting closer to paying off your home or paying it off entirely can also save you in interest and significantly lower your monthly expenses. Allocating cash here is a win-win. You can enjoy a little bit of it. It's okay to use a portion of your inheritance on something you enjoy or find rewarding. Them new J's, planning a vacation, investing in more education, paying for a big purchase, taking your wife out to the movies. Could all be good moves. Give. Donate funds to charity. Thinking about your loved ones' causes or your own can continue legacy goals and provide tax benefits. So, number 4, don't get tripped up on taxes. When deciding what to do with an inheritance, taxes will need to be considered. It is extremely important to be aware of all the tax ramifications of any decision around inherited assets. Caswell says you could be required to pay a capital gains tax if you sell the gift, like property, that was passed down to you, for example. Also, depending on where you live, your inherited money could be taxed outside of life insurance, in addition to federal estate taxes. Several U.S. states impose an inheritance tax and or an estate tax. So you'll definitely want to talk about estate shrinkage with your financial professional. Since every situation is unique and tax laws can change, when considering things to do with an inheritance, consult a financial advisor and a tax professional for guidance. So you want to make your windfall count. Receiving an inheritance has the potential to change your financial picture for good. When thinking about the things to do when you get an inheritance, be sure to give yourself ample time to grieve and to understand all of your options. Don't be afraid to lean on the experts to get up to speed on any tax and legal implications you need to consider. Planning can go a long way toward making the right decisions concerning your newfound wealth. Being responsible with your inheritance not only helps ensure your financial future, but will also honor your loved one's legacy. Discover Bank member FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Commission. So that was a real brief video. I just wanted to go ahead and give you all that. Who's in Florence? What's going on, folks? So I just wanted to read that article really quick, but then the next thing I want to do is break that down. And why do we need to break that down? Because we realize, especially in the Black community, because that's what I'm talking about, Pop died and he left you $1 million. Now let's take a look at one of the main options, and this is what we need to look at. So the average income. Let's do a Google search really quickly. Average income in America 2020. Let's look at what the average or the median income in America is. They have average income 2019. I don't think they have 2020 stats yet, huh? Income and poverty. What is the average income? Here we go. So here's a good article. Let's take a look at this one. What is the average American income in 2020? Policy advice. Another website. So, did you ever wonder this other crap? What does this say here? So the median household income is $68,703. But again, like I said, the median in 2019 was $52 grand. And the median black household is probably 42 grand. But looks here, the full-time working woman in 2019 had 47 or 48,000. Full-time working men had 57,000. But the average wage, like I said, in America was about 52K. So you want to replace $52,000 a year for 20 years, right? So if I pull up a calculator, let's do that here. Okay, let's pull up a calculator for us. Right? Calculator. Right? Because let's look at the situation of most Americans. Let's take a 45-year-old male with a 6-year-old daughter. Right? He's generally going to have health insurance until she's 24. So that's another what? 18 years. She'll be about 18 years. So let's just call it a full 20. She'll be 26. Okay, so, and he makes $52,000 a year. $52,000, right? And if we do 52,000 times 20, that's 1.4 or $1,400,000 worth of life insurance, right? So with let's just call it 1.4 mil, right? So with that 1.4 mil, 1 second, let me just respond to this text message. So $1.4 million is $52,000 a year for 20 years, right? So that's $1 million life insurance policy, that inheritance that Pop is leaving. Grandpa left you $1 million. Now what? Well, he just left you $50,000 a year for 20 years. Well, is that sufficient? Because we have to look at inflation. Let's look at the inflation rate. The inflation rate is 3% a year. So if your money is inflating at 3% a year, how are you protecting that $52,000 with just the $1 million life insurance policy over the course of 20 years? You're not. Because 3% interest from 2020 to 2030, 3% interest means that $1 million in 2030, that $1 million in 2020 in 2030 is only $500,000. So Pop in 2020, he was being responsible getting $1 million worth of life insurance. But in 2030, when Pop died, that $1 million to you is only $500,000. So it's cut in half. Now, if you need to take into account for inflation, you're going to go ahead and you're going to look at putting it in something like a high yield bank account. In fact, I want to go back to this article because in that article, they give you a way to click on the high yield bank account. So let's do such. Alex Catswell. So let's look here. High yield bank account, high yield savings account. And I'm going to share this so you can see this. Now they might be biased because I'm going from Discover, the credit card company. So they may only show their account, but it is, they're going to try and make you open their account. Oh, wait, that's a high interest bank account. What does that say? 0.5%. So you get half a 1%. And they are advertising this to you as earn interest over 5 times the national savings average. And then they compare their high interest bank accounts to them. Let's see. So with Discover, you have 0.5% APR, where with Chase, you have 0.01%, and with Citibank, you have 0.04%, and with Bank of America, you have 0.01%. So interest compounded daily or monthly. They say daily and monthly. There's no monthly fee with Discover, apparently, but there's a $5 monthly fee with Chase. There's a $4.50 monthly fee with Citibank, and there's an $8 fee with Bank of America. So there's always going to be fees. let's see. You can earn on $15,000 annually. You can earn $75.19. Man, I want that money market account. Meanwhile, you'll look at a life insurance policy that grows at, let's say, 2% monthly compound interest and say, that seems too costly. That seems like something that's a waste of money because you've been trained to spend more for less. See, when you got it like that, the dope boys on the hood might try to jip you on the dime bag, but stupid motherfucker, I got enough money to buy your entire operation. What you're doing is you're showing me that you're not worth going further and actually purchasing large quantities from, because you're being like these ignorance and not having it. I have to break it down to the thugs that follow my channel because, like Tupac, when I speak revolutionary and clear and concise, it doesn't reach all of the ears that I need it to reach. So those who are of the talented 10th, the gentlemen who are productive, I appreciate you being here, but please bring some gentlemen who you think aren't productive, because my goal is to actually uplift them as well. And part of that is educating you, so you go back and when you see a young boy out there acting up in the street, you grab him by his coattail, or for those who know, by his cable toe, and tell him to stop looking crazy, stripped and naked in the streets. Or you could actually save yourself the hassle of fees and purchase a life insurance policy. But again, these products, daily, monthly, it's likely going to be a monthly compound, but off of 15,000, you're only annually earning $75, and that's 0.5%. Whereas again, like I said, a life insurance policy grows at 3%. Well, worst case scenario, 2%, but the current market is 3%. And then if you get into the proper product, it can grow at even greater percentages. Let me see here if I can go on my WinFlex. Let's see if this will log me in here. Yes, it will. So let's just do this. I'm going to share another screen with you. So mainly I show one of the favorite companies that I write for when I do these presentations. Whoops. Babe, I knocked your controller over. I'm sorry. It's all right. I'm going to unplug it. So if you look here, this is my back office. You can see my name here. Let me increase the screen for you guys. Okay. So this is WinFlex. Okay. This is my back office. And these are some of the companies that I write business for. So Prudential, Nationwide, Equitable, which used to be AXA Equitable, and Security Mutual. I like Security Mutual because they're a dividend or they participate. They're a participating company. Let's do a new illustration, if we will. If my computer decides to act right. Let's start a new case. Let's start it with Security Mutual. Let's do, oh no, because these are participating. Let's do the LP100. Okay, why is this not scrolling? Oh, there we go. Create client. Let's put LeBron James, actually. Okay. And we will make me 45 years old. Now, there's going to be some differences here. And again, this is all about Pop leaving you the money. So, as you see here, this is with Security Mutual. I should show you guys Prudential, but I'm not going to do Prudential right now. Actually, I'm going to also do a different product. So give me 1 second. I'm going to do a different product. Because again, like I said, I'm a broker. So I write for a lot of companies, but brokers will find companies that they like the best because they generally tend to offer the client the best the best benefit. Log in, motherfucker. There we go. All right, it's showing the wrong window now. Technical difficulties. I love technical difficulties. Chrome tab. Boom. Share. All right, clients and cases. Let's create, no. Yeah, let's, wait, go back. Let's create one new. There we go. The. All right, and will make me 35. And what state? Since I saw Florence, South Carolina, we're going to use South Carolina. All right, and let's put this person in not a 28, but a 33% tax bracket. Okay, and next, page jump, return, and let's do a new product, basic illustration. So again, remember, we're talking about what to do with that inheritance. So Pop just left us $1 million. Damn it. There we go. All right. And this is going to be. The heck is this? Am I still on? Oh, dang. I didn't even realize I was still on this. Give me 1 second, YouTube. I'm sorry, I didn't even realize I was still on the Zoom call, y'all.
You good.
Well, y'all might as well just stay along for the ride. So.
You good. I was actually on the stream. I jumped on your stream for a minute.
Oh, all right. Well,
doing some other stuff.
No doubt. I apologize. Y'all can hop back on.
Nah, you did good. You all right.
I
just hopped in.
You want me to? Yeah, the link's in there too.
Yeah.
I'm a multitasking mofo, family. I'm a multitasking mofo.
Yeah, I was on the stream just now checking you out.
I don't know. Why is this thing? Okay, banners. Why is this thing? All right.
I have not been on. I have been working behind the scenes today.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Wow. Yeah, my whole thing. Listen, man, it's technology sometimes. All right, so back to where I'm at. So looking at this, we're looking at Pop having that $1 million. So when he leaves you that $1 million, and you're looking at the aspect of you getting that $1 million, Blue Blazer 35, single premium immediate annuity, or oh shit, I'm sorry. So me as the Blue Blazer getting a single premium immediate annuity, right? I have the option to have that be one payment of $1 million that inside of 12 months can start rolling out to me consistently. However, because I am under the age of 59 and a half, I would be heavily taxed. So we don't want an immediate annuity for someone who's under 59 and a half. And I don't quite need the money right now, right? So Pop left me $1 million. I can put it in that high interest money market account. And what did we say that was going to be? That off of $15,000, you're going to get $75 a year, right? So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to their calculator. I'm gonna put $1 million in just because I want to see what they're gonna say you're gonna get from that $1 million. So off of $1 million, you will get $5,012.49. Okay. Now let's do this annuity, and we're gonna do annual 0, lump sum of 1 million. Okay. So you're going to drop in $1 million. I'm not going to look at the asset allocation. We're just going to drop in $1 million. I'm going to print to age 65. Where is it? Here we go. What is this? Okay. So, as you see, this is an enhanced death benefit. So, for gentlemen who don't qualify for life insurance, let's say Pop didn't qualify for life insurance, but he still wanted to put a little bit of money away. Now, he might not get the whole amount, but he'll have some of it that can build up to this $1 million. But let's see. So, Pop left you $1 million in South Carolina. If you'll notice, these are the cap accounts and everything that its asset allocation is building. The S&P 500 sector rotator daily RC2 5% index has limited information. So if you want to know all about that index, you'll go check it out online. Okay, so this also does have a death benefit, but let's take a look at this. Year 1, $1 million was put away, right? Now, year 1, off of that $1 million, we're getting $12,500. And mind you, this is an annuity, so eventually it's going to start paying you out. But so that first year, you built $12,500. Mind you, just like a high interest savings account, your goal is to leave it there to earn interest. But that $1 million in that high yield bank account, actually, let me be able to switch from window to window on this. That's the difficulty because I want to show y'all the difference of both. And I need to give me a second with this technology. You know what? Screw it. We're just going to share this entire fucking screen because I ain't got time for all that bouncing back and forth. So, as we see here, your online savings account, you got your $1 million in there. It's going to earn you $5,012.49 in interest. On the flip side, you got your $1 million in your annuity. It's going to earn you $12,500 in interest. And if you were to cancel it, yeah, you'd only get $921K. And if you were to suddenly die from a heart attack because, oh shit, grandpa left me money and I'm an unhealthy black man, I don't eat right, I eat fried chicken every fucking night, well, you're probably going to die from a heart attack, buddy. So boom, you can at least leave your younger generation $1,012,000, and you didn't put a dime into it. But as it's growing, it's just going to continue to balloon. So every year, so the first year you got 12,500. Next year you got 12,600. Next year you got 12,800. Next year you get 12,900. Following year you get 13,000. So it's just ballooning. So leaving it in there for 6 years, it ballooned. I'm sorry, not 6 years. Leaving it in there for what? Where does it balloon to 2 million? Leaving it in there for 6 years, you end up with $1.07 million or 1,077,000, and it just grows. But now we want to see at the end. So at the very end, because you're saving this for 35 years, right? The death benefit is there. Now you can use it, but the goal is to generally just live off the interest. So the interest that's credited to you every year, you can take. And as you notice, it just balloons and grows larger. At age 70, you've got $2.5 million. Now, you are age 70. People are living a lot longer these days. And at age 70, you're actually right before what's called the RMD, or required minimum distribution. Remember how I said you'd get a tax penalty for taking this annuity money if you were before 59 and a half? You also get a tax penalty of 50% if you don't take the money at 71 and a half. So now you're 70, and we're assuming you've got some other successes going on, so you didn't really use much of that money that Pop left for you. But now it's just ballooned to $2 million, and now you've got $2 million that you can use in your 70s. I know people who are in their 70s who are living life, living la vida loca, and they're, regular degular. So it's not something that is outside of the ordinary or the realm of possibility. So with that, that's really the crux of it. In terms of what I wanted to show you today about what to do with that inheritance. So Discover credit card tells you to put it in their high interest bank account, which I believe you should do. It's generally a smart thing to do, to put your money in a high interest bank account. However, while doing so, you generally should also, if you're getting like $1 million, take $500,000. You see, letting the other $500,000 sit there for 35 years, it's going to grow to probably $1.5 million anyway. So enjoy half of it. Why not? A lot of financial advisors and people, I'm going to put it in this that's going to invest. Listen, you make money to enjoy money, and that's the purpose of it. So a lot of financial professionals, advise against it, what have you. It's not the best thing. Enjoy your money. That's why you work. Yes, you put it into vehicles to grow. So as long as you have your money in a vehicle to grow, you should be enjoying at least part of it. Not all of it, not all the time, but at least part of it. So with that being said, I think I'm going to start closing it out a little bit. Unless anybody has any questions or wants me to open the panel. I'll wait a minute to see, and I'll be right back. All right. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. The next video I do is going to be another interesting one. And I think what I want to do is finish discussing the hedge fund, or the definition of the hedge fund. I found out that a lot of y'all seem to be very interested in the hedge fund. And, the hedge fund definitely is an interesting financial institution. So at any rate, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. With that being said, peace, Black superiority, one love, I'm out.
Our goal is to break the power of the mob in America and nothing short of it. We mean to end their profits, imprison their members, and cripple their organization.
Well. It actually seems like we have a special guest who popped up as I was closing out. I appreciate that. Mr. Rael, how you doing today? And what say you, sir?
Oh, peace, man. I was just saying congrats on that, and good information to break down. Something that's very necessary. Understanding these types of things. I know just overall being prepared as far as estate planning goes saves a lot of headache, especially in the long run for people that are coming after you. I know in my experiences with both of my parents passing years ago, because they didn't do things like that, there was agitation on both sides because people are fighting for things that nobody has left to them. It's like how like in the hood when somebody gets put out and all this stuff is out there. And at their most vulnerable time, they'll leave to try to find somewhere else and stay. And when they come back, people in the hood pick through all this shit, and it's that same type of mentality that happens to people after a physical death. Somebody gets put out, stuff like that. That's a financial death. Like something happened and you financially, it was financially catastrophic. So it's the same thing. People are picking over the dead person's remains, basically, because there's nothing from a estate planning standpoint that has set them up to know who is getting what and why and things like that. So this is a very, timely topic just because you're giving people an opportunity to see like how to handle this particular money. I mean, we know the story of Master P. He took the $10,000 and turned it into $600 million. So, and we don't know. We know that he received a life insurance policy, but overall, like there are different steps that you can use to not only receive that money but actually make that money grow, which is what you want to do with principal. You want to take principal and make it grow. Because this is what smart people do. They take the principal money, they invest money, and they let money mature. And what happens is people just enjoy the principal. I mean, the money that comes from the residual, basically. They enjoy the residual while still letting the principal grow to a certain point and expand. So this is a timely topic. Appreciate it for you doing the show.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Definitely hearing in your situation, I can attest to a personal situation here where I had a family member who had a dance troupe that was second in the country to Alvin Ailey. And, in local towns, small cities, a local famous person is a local famous person. So my family tends to have, not with younger generations, but older generations tends to be known. And that's one of the things that in Black America seems to have gone away was the family. I'll give you an example and then I'll finish. I met a gentleman and he was like, "Hey man, are you related to the family of this?" And I was like, "No, but you look like," he was like, "Yeah, I'm from," I think he said the Carters or something like that. And I was like, "Wow, you look like them." And that's something that we've gone away from in the Black America, which we need to get back to, is the wholesomeness of family. However, my uncle, he died second in the country to Alvin Ailey. He was famous here in this city. However, people thought, oh, we should be fine. We had to sell items from his performances, items from his sets that he did. There is here in New Haven, Connecticut, something called the Schubert and the Palace Theater. It's very similar to being almost on Broadway in Manhattan. This man has performed in China and Japan. He was performing with a dance troupe called Dallas Black. If anyone whom watches Dance So You Think You Can Dance and Debbie Allen, he was dancing with those people. Larry Farrell, what's the tap dancing guy? I can't remember his name. This is who my uncle hung with. But for him to die, do you know the last thing he did on his deathbed? He died from AIDS. Myself and two of my cousins were at his deathbed. I was 12 years old. Ironically enough, he had $3. He gave me and the other two $1 each. He said, "This is all I can give you, but I love you. Go make something happen." $1 damn. What did I do with that $1 damn? At 12, I didn't quite understand what he was doing, so I probably bought some candy and potato chips or something. My cousin, she still has her dollar. She kept it as a sentimental value. But she was also a little older than me when she got that dollar. But these things are so important. This man who's famous, we had to sell off his shit. Why are we selling off a famous man's shit? Why doesn't he have in place something like this? I'm realizing part of it is that this type of stuff isn't wholly taught to us. I've worked with a lot of other Black financial advisors, and what we tend to do is come into your household and say, hey, here's a $50,000 policy. Here's a $100,000 policy. Yes, it's expensive. It ain't cheap. But people have this weird concept of it being cheap. It shouldn't be cheap because you're asking someone to give you, for example, I'm saying, hey, insurance company, I'm going to give you $100. You might get that $100 from me every month, every year, while this policy is in place. But you have what's called an aleatory contract. So once my premium's paid, if the policy is still in force and the event happens, meaning I die, even if I lapse the premium after, guess what? You still have to pay that $1 million. So is it really expensive when I go, hey, insurance company, I'm going to give you $100. You're guaranteed that I'm going to die. It might not be today, but I don't know nobody who's made it out of life alive. Give me $1 million when that happens. Or give these people $1 million when that happens. Oh, and while I'm at it, this $100 may grow at 2% year over year, guaranteed. And that I'll have access to that. But, you know, it's expensive. It's taught to us wrong.
Right. It's kind of like when you're in consulting, when a company needs a consultant, it means that there's something off about their business model. But the problem with consulting is that by the time they come to you, they've lost money, so they're very hesitant to spend the money. So because they look at the consulting fees as they look at it as an expense instead of as an investment. Mm-hmm. And it's the same kind of mindset. It's really from a lack mentality. You know, they're so scared they're going to lose money, they don't do anything with money to try to make money. You know, it's the same kind of type of concept, which ultimately leads to if they don't get the proper planning that they need, they're gonna lose the money anyway. Ultimately, they're gonna lose it. So it's the same type of concept, man. And many people are really a lot of it too is selfish too. Like, you know, there are some people who would think like, well, ain't nobody ever leave me an insurance policy. Why should I leave you one? You know, that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Just real petty. Yeah, like real petty type shit. So it's it's something that something as simple as this can jumpstart families to actually building and accruing wealth. It's not like it's rocket science, but people have to really
grasp it,
and they have to really. Because one thing I've learned from Black people in business and things like that is that they're very skittish about contracts overall. They're scared of them. They're scared of contracts, man. Especially when it comes to some money, man. They are scared. So it's really a hurdle you really do have to jump.
I definitely believe so. One of the things as well, because they're not too scary about contracts. What they're scary about is something that is concise. When you're looking at the financial worlds, let's look at how fast somebody will be like, oh, I want to invest. If I was talking about the stock market right now, there'd be 300 viewers. But just like you said, $1,200 a year, and you're basically growing at 36%. But you want to go with a speculative item that might get 36%, but it might get 0. But you're absolutely going to get, just like you're absolutely going to die, you're absolutely going to get 36% per year, because 3% compound per month is 36% overall in a year. So you're absolutely going to get that. But it's scary, and I'll tell you why. You ever been you remember high school? You ever remember you ever been with your homeboys and they're always like, oh man, I'm into this girl, but she got a friend, and the friend's maybe a little bit heavier, maybe not as slim in Coke bottle shape. So you take one for the team. At the end of the day, when it's dark and
right.
Oh, wait, did I really do the same thing? And ironically enough, the frumpy one is actually doing a whole lot more than the pretty one. The pretty one's just like, oh, I'm pretty. Everybody wants to do this to me. So, right? Meanwhile, you're able to get it in with the other one, right?
Right.
So what insurance is the frumpy chick, right? She's definitely going to, and this is why I also do real estate. Because when I hand someone my real estate card, I get called immediately. When I hand someone my insurance card, not so much.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And they're the same chick. And actually, insurance is a lot better than real estate. But she's the frumpy chick. So people can't grasp that she's actually way better off than the sexy chick that everybody...
More, be more consistent.
Yes, she's definitely more consistent as well. You can set your clock by her, whereas the pretty one, not so much. You know what I mean? You may be at a point where, yes, this thing is growing greatly, but again, it's financial tools that are taught to our community the wrong way. We aren't taught to even look to do anything when we receive life insurance proceeds. So all we're thinking is, well, yeah, when I die, I leave somebody a death benefit check, or when somebody dies, it's a big check. All they're going to do is take that check and go party. The wealthy are thinking, when I die, I'm going to leave this check, and no longer am I just going to be JP Morgan Chase Bank. My grandson's going to take some of this inheritance, and he's going to create his own company called Morgan Stanley, Smith Barney, Dean Witter. Oh, and we also just purchased E-Trade, but it's still Morgan Stanley. Did he not create a legacy? He left his grandson money. His grandson said, okay, and created an additional company that's in the same realm as what his father did. So it's not taught to us properly. We're taught, I want an 800 credit score. We don't know about leveraging dollars. With an 800 credit score, you are saying, Ra, thank you for this $100 you're giving me. But now I have to go to work because based on the score, you're willing to give me $100, but I got to give you $104 back. So based on what you're telling me is that I'm just putting my own work against that credit score, meaning that I have to leverage my own work and earning power to earn $1.04 to pay you back because you gave me $100 to buy something today. Or I could just leverage my dollars in many financial products, but let's just look at a fixed life insurance policy that you can actually go get credit off of to the bank and say, hey, I've had this life insurance policy for X amount of time, and it's X amount of dollars, and I'd like to borrow against it. And they know you can. You can actually, I'll give you a quick story. Go ahead and interject because it sounded like you wanted to say something.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
So I have a buddy who purchased an Allstate insurance agency from another agent. The purchase was, I believe it was $990,000. He was not only selling him the business, but he was selling him the building that the business was in. So the building was worth like $990,000, and the guy's book of business was about a $3 million book of business. So that's an additional $300,000. So he just sold the whole thing for $1 million, easy. So that he needed to get a life insurance policy because he didn't really have the credit to borrow the money, and they were doing a private loan outside of the banks. So how do I secure this loan? So he said, okay, I will get a life insurance policy and do what's called collateral assignment because there was no insurable interest between them. They're not related or anything. And so the assignment shows that the reason I got this life insurance policy and you're the beneficiary, even though we have no insurable interest, technically you'll have no financial loss if I die, is because you will have a financial loss if I die along the lines of paying you back this $1 million loan. So here's a life insurance policy that you loaning me the money are a beneficiary of. Now, one more thing, and I want to speak this to the Black community because, again, too many Black men run around wanting to be El Chapo. In fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do another video on it because I'm going to want Negroes to watch it. But I think that it would be beautiful to share. And I think you would benefit from seeing this as well. Okay, so let's see here. Colombian cocaine cartel. Colombian cocaine cartel life insurance. It pops up on Google, right? Cartels use life insurance.
No, you didn't. Just put, ooh,
okay, this is why I get tired of these funky ass bullshit ass niggas. Excuse my terminology. New hiding place for drug profits. Insurance policies. An article from December 6, 2002, which is why now I face, and you will be facing, when you enter this industry, something called AML, anti-money laundering. These are laws that were created because dumb Negroes who aren't trying to be productive, even if they were just selling drugs, when I approached them in their hood, they could have fucked with me and got something like this. But no, this isn't attractive. So let's just take a look at that. It says law enforcement officials said today that the Colombian cocaine traffickers seeking to launder tens of millions, they laundered 80 million, by the way, tens of millions in drug profits from the United States and Mexico, had begun exploiting an unlikely haven: life insurance policies. Officials at the Treasury Department said that they were so worried about the trend that they were pushing for tougher regulation of the insurance industry as a way of identifying suspicious insurance policies. So, sir, that's a New York Times article. I'm going to do another video on that. I'm already an hour and 5 in.
that's insane.
I'm going to go ahead and close out. I'm gonna leave that article up there, but I know you're a researcher, so I know you'll research it.
Oh, I
But
already
go
pulled
ahead
it
and
up.
close out, sir.
Yeah, man, it's like, you know, people need to understand that a lot of life is nuanced. Um, it's there are things that are cut and dry, but there are a lot of things that there's a lot of gray area, you know. Um, and the thing that makes this system like so beautiful is that it's loopholes. That's the yellow brick road. You find them loopholes, you're gonna win. You know what I'm saying? Like if you about that money, you're gonna win. This is what these people are all. I've been saying this for a long time. Wealthy people are never going to create a system in which they have a chance that they're going to lose their money. They're not. They're not going to do it. So in this system, they're going to create loophole that is going to allow them to continue to keep generating wealth. All we got to do is find the loophole they use and use them too. And especially while it's open, because some loopholes don't stay open. Sometimes they close. So, you know, instead of bickering and arguing about nonsensical stuff, you know, there's a whole lot of things we can do when we multimillionaires and billionaires. Like we can do a whole lot because money talk. You know what I'm saying? Money talk in ways that a human can't. So this is just one avenue, you know, that I know for sure we definitely need to exploit. I've been also looking at. I actually got this book. That's what it was one of the things that made me start studying for health and life insurance license. It's dealing with the Swiss annuities and insurance industry. And in Switzerland, this industry is a big industry. I mean, you talking about shitload of money. So, but I need to master it here first. But once it's on,
Wait, you're saying Switzerland has a big annuity market?
I'm gonna send you a book on it.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you a book on it, and it's phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? And it's money there too. So this you know, this thing is just, you know, money is global, man. Money is a global language. You know what I'm saying? You don't, if you can't speak a language in another country, you can hire somebody to speak it for you. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So to me, you know, get the money. That's it. Get the money so you can solve your problems. You know, that's it.
Exactly. Thank you, Rob, for coming on. So again, you see what to do when grandpa left you $1 million is what you need to do is go see a financial professional immediately. Don't make a brash decision and spend all that money because statistics show that 70% plus run through the money in the first 2 years. If you are a person who's leaving that money for someone, you want to make sure that you leave them with a spendthrift clause so that they don't get messed up, and look at a trust. So you got to make sure that you protect you and make sure that if you're leaving something to someone, that you protect them. Also, you want to talk to those who you expect to predecease you. I see too many people who don't have the conversation with their parents or grandparents or their guardians about, hey, do you have life insurance in the event that you die and I need to pay for your funeral? I'll give you an example. Was it a month and a half ago? An elder in my family died. This woman was 84 years old. She had a husband. Her husband spoiled her. She was a housewife. He paid all the bills. He was retired as well. When it came time and she passed, her children didn't have any life insurance on her. She didn't have any life insurance on her. Her husband didn't have any life insurance on her. My aunt, 2 months ago. So how did we pay for that funeral? Well, everybody in the family had to gather up some dollars. Members of the family had to pull money out of their own 401k. Her daughters had to pull money out of their own 401k because a lot of the family, and often a lot of Black folks, either ain't gonna help or don't have the money to help when it really comes time and that event happens. So again, buy your Jordans, but instead of buying 3 pairs this week, buy 2 pairs. And with the money that you would spend on that next pair, spend it on something that will get you a return. So with that being said, peace, Black power, one love, and I'm actually out this time.